Good morning, day 105, cooking down the freezer and the working pantry. So hopefully tomorrow it's going to warm up. I have a mess here. I still have to put lots of things away from my monthly shopping haul. And I still have to transplant my tomatoes. They're doing really well. I have seeds everywhere. I have pots everywhere. I just have a mess going. Somehow that's how I operate. I try to be neat and tidy, but I pull all my things out and before I know it, I have a mess. So anyway, there go the bells again. Every morning when I start a video, the bells chime. Well, that can wait for a minute. So I've had this mug for a long time. I think I got it at Walmart a few years ago, but I thought it was really cute. I actually got it for my daughter when she was working here, and this is the mug she would use. But right now I'm using it. So my favorite mugs are in the dishwasher, and it's not full yet, so I could wash it by hand, but I'm being lazy. And I thought I'd try a couple other mugs in the meantime. So anyway, even though it's cold, at least the sun is shining today. So hopefully it will usher in some nicer weather. But there's lots of work to be done inside, so it's probably for the best that it's still cold out. Alright, I'll be back in a little while and we'll see what's for breakfast, day 105. Happy Tea Tuesday, March 29th, and it's a balmy 19 degrees out today. So anyway, the cold spell continues, but tomorrow it's supposed to be 68. Go figure. Oh well. Today I'm having Bigelow Benefits Balanced Cinnamon and Blackberry Herbal Tea. This tea is really good, and I like to have it with, I sweeten my tea, so I like to have it with a little bit of cinnamon Tarani syrup. Really tasty. But I won't be having that till this afternoon. So there we go. And I'll just let that steep till I'm ready to drink it. I start off with cold water, put the tea bag in, and then put it on my warmer. And in the afternoon, it's ready for me to drink. So, happy Tea Tuesday. Come along with me and see what my day brings. Well, good morning. Cheers. It's Tea Tuesday, but I'm having Coffee Tuesday. I'll have tea later. So I just wanted to talk a little bit about becoming a vegetarian in your later years, which is what I did. So I grew up in a German family, and you know, German people, a lot of them are all about the Wurst, the sausage, and the lunch meat, and the pork roast, and you know, all those things. Well, this is what I grew up with. My mom and dad were both German. They immigrated here when I was 4. So this is the diet that I grew up on. And of course, cheese, gotta have cheese, and bread. It's all about the bread too. Germans are very much into artisan breads, so, and these are things that I love. I love these things. But I decided when I was, about 60, I don't know exactly when the transition happened, but it was just Okay, I'm not eating meat anymore. And I'm not going to get on a lecture box here or anything like that. I have my personal reasons for that, as a lot of people do that are vegetarian or vegan. Some of them do it for health reasons, some of them do it for ethical reasons. Whatever the reason is, it doesn't matter. So anyway, my point is here, I did not grow up eating other ethnic foods. We ate German foods. I didn't grow up eating bowls and, you know, chickpeas and all that. I mean, we had bean soup, but you had ham hocks in your bean soup. So it was a process that I had to learn some of these foods. My mom was an excellent cook, but then again, she cooked German foods. So Mexican foods and Asian foods and Indian foods, that was all new to me. Thai, you know, I still don't eat Thai because it's too spicy for me. But my mom didn't cook with those spices and herbs either. So it's been a learning process for me over the years. And I still cook a lot of things the way that I learned from my mother. She learned from her mother. So, and I learned to cook by watching her. That's what we would do. We would hang out in the kitchen, and I would watch her cook. I would watch her clean. You know, my parents were never ones to sit down and play games with me. We just hung out. That's what we did, and it was nice. So when I started eating vegetarian, first of all, let me say I started out as pescatarian because I felt like I needed the protein from the fish. And I know fish is good for you, but fish was never my favorite thing to eat. I liked it, but I could have lived without it. So after a while it was like, I really don't enjoy this that much, so I gave up the fish. So anyway, that was sort of my progression into vegetarianism. I love watching vegan cooking shows. I absolutely love it because I'm just amazed at the ingredients that you can take and turn into something else, like flour. You can turn it into a very high protein meal. And that's just fascinating to me. The things you can do with tofu, the things you can do with seitan, which is made with flour. That's all it is. You know, people go, oh, fake meats, blah, blah, blah. And yeah, there are fake meats out there, and I actually like them. I don't like all of them. I've tried lots of them. Some I like, some I don't. I was very excited when the Impossible brand and the Beyond brand came out. And I'm going to do a little taste test a little later today between the two, the chicken ones, to see which one I like better. And I'm probably going to like them both. I have the feeling I'll like both of them. But anyway, I digress. But where was I going with this? Don't you just love these senior moments? Anyway, I don't eat fish anymore, but I was happy to find Morningstar Farms makes fish fillets that are breaded that are actually really good. So I gave up eating fish, and then I naturally progressed to cooking what I knew. I know a lot of people that are vegan are kind of grossed out by meat, and you know, they ask the question, why would you even want to eat something that resembles meat? Well, it's because a lot of us grew up on that. That's what we ate. We didn't think anything of it back in those days. And I didn't either until I started thinking about it, and well, anyhow, I'm wandering off to that subject again. So a lot of my cooking is using ingredients that mimic things that I'm used to eating. I'll make a regular recipe for spaghetti, and I'll just throw in some either homemade veggie grounds or veggie grounds that I bought, and so I can follow just about any recipe. When it comes down to roasts, there are lots of recipes that you can make a vegetarian type of roast. So there's ways that even if you are a meat eater and you want to incorporate more of a veggie, let's say Mondays or Thursdays you don't want to have meat. There's lots of ways that you can still cook the way you're used to. You don't have to eat foods that are foreign to you. So back in the Depression, meat was scarce and it was very expensive. And things are kind of headed towards at least high inflation, which of course makes the grains expensive. The grains that they feed the animals with are expensive. Everything. The wages are, well, sort of going up, and a lot of people are just not going into those industries. They're working from home. It's what they got used to at the beginning of the pandemic, so now that's what they're used to doing, and they don't want to go back to that type of labor. So that all that drives the prices of meat sky high. So even if you don't want to give up meat, and that's your privilege, you might want to think about incorporating more vegetarian meals into your diet. And of course, if you don't like beans, it's kind of a little more difficult because a lot of it is centered around beans, but there are recipes out there that use beans that you might really like. Maybe adding a bouillon cube to your beans to give it that flavor of chili or a bean soup. They make ham flavored stock, vegetarian stock. And if you don't care about that, you can use regular chicken stock or beef stock or whatever just to give it that flavor. And you might find things more palatable that way. As far as shopping for food, I buy basic foods. I've talked about this before in the past. I have a good stock of basic foods: beans, rice, vegetarian stock flavors. I keep my veggie scraps. I make stock out of those. So I have a lot of foods available to me. So I don't find a recipe and then run out and buy groceries so that I can make that recipe. I feel, this is my opinion, I feel that really drives your grocery bill up, because you don't know how much the ingredients are going to cost. It might be one of the things that have really increased in cost. So what I do, I work my meals around the things that I have available, things I've gotten on sale or things that I've stocked up on. So I'm never at a loss for really any food. It's all available. And I did stock up over the past few years. I'd say I've really been into it way more in the last, I'd say 3 or 4 years. I've always had a food stash, but in the last 3 or 4 years, I've gotten more into it. And I do have I have vegetarian and vegan faux meats. I have a lot of the Impossible Burger. Once they started selling that in stores, I stocked up on that. Our local Mark's store will have it on sale once in a while, and whenever I see it, I'll pick up some. So if you want to save money on food, you might want to think about that. Getting an old cookbook, like from maybe the 40s, a lot of people did not eat meat every day. They couldn't afford it. So maybe once a week they had a roast or something. And it wasn't available either. So they made things out of basic foods that had enough protein in it to sustain them. And I know in Germany too, back in those days, they didn't have where you ate meat every day. That just wasn't in the cards. I mean, that came later after the war, but it was just too expensive. So, and then they gave most of the meat to the breadwinner of the family because he needed his strength. And, the ladies all stayed home. They took care of the children. And so that's just the way it was. That, people learned to make faux meats out of oatmeal. They made the oatmeal patties that there's lots of recipes for those out there. And I've made them myself, and I think they're very good. And oatmeal is very healthy. So there's lots of ways to get around not buying a lot of really, really expensive meat. Of course, buying it on sale is your best bet. But, even chicken legs or wings, oh my God, chicken wings are just through the roof. Once they became popular in the bars and at the restaurants, I mean, $12 for a thing of maybe 6 ribs, not ribs, wings. I mean, come on. So anyway, we have to be flexible with our food because especially the way things are going nowadays when, people they keep saying there's going to be shortages and blah, blah, blah. And like I said, better to be prepared. So I read something today. It was actually on Facebook. And somebody had posted a post about helping your parents downsize. And the article, it wasn't an article, some person had written it. And it was saying how a lot of children become impatient with their elderly parents. Now, I'm not talking about parents that are like in their 90s or, but just elderly parents where, they're grown children and they have children of their own, but they're just at a different phase in their life than their parents. And how frustrating some people, younger people, get because their parents, when they're downsizing, are taking so long. And, it's not a matter of, okay, I want this, I don't want this, I want this, I don't want this. Now, a lot of people can do that. But there are a lot of people, older people, that can't do that. They have to, some of the things that they're trying to get rid of, they haven't seen in years. It brings back memories to them of happier times. And so they find it difficult to get rid of some of these things. And then I thought, well, I can relate to that, but I'm not one that gets real sentimentally attached to things. I get attached to things because I like them. I bought this tchotchke and I like it. I don't want to get rid of it. I want to keep it. But I mean, the way that I'm kind of getting around that, and I'm still guilty of buying a tchotchke every now and then, I just don't buy new ones. I'm trying to find a home in my house for the things I already have that I still like. Now, if I don't like it anymore, I had some caged glass that I just kept looking at it going, I don't really like that. So I got rid of it. Things like that I have no problem with getting rid of. But the article went on to say that how the children are in a different phase of their life. And this really kind of hit home for me. And what it said was that the older parent, you're really getting ready for your end of life. And I thought, yeah, That's true. And most of us don't want to think about our end of life. And I don't want this to be a depressing video, but that one statement really, really hit home to me. And it's like, yeah, I am getting ready for end of life. Now, who knows? That may be any number of years yet. I could live potentially to be 100, so that might mean 30 years. But doing that type of purging, the thought is still in the back of your mind that that's really what you're doing. And your child isn't at that stage. They don't, it's too remote for them when they're trying to help you. So maybe explaining that to them, they might understand a little better if it takes you, 3 days to go through a bureau where it would take them 10 minutes. But I'm finding this, I can relate so much to my elderly mother because I've had the privilege of growing old with her. So I understand what that process is. But, at that point, when you get to be in your I would say it starts like in your mid 60s, you start to lose some friends, that pass in their 60s. Maybe some family members, aunts, uncles, grandpas, grandmas. And you realize I'm in that age group and it's disturbing. And you don't really want to think about this is my end of life purging, but the Swedish call it Swedish death cleaning. You can't get any more specific than that. But I think that's why so many elderly people, and by elderly I'm including myself, why it's so difficult to get rid of things. It's like our brain doesn't really want to wrap ourselves around that concept. So I just wanted to talk a little bit about that, and that statement really had an impact on me this morning when I read it. And I said to myself, that really explains a lot. So if you're feeling that way, don't feel bad. It's part of the process. And if you have memories attached to things, and they're really special to you, then keep them. Find a box or display them. That would be even better as you're going through your things. Get rid of some of the newer things that you don't really care that much about and display those things. They'll bring back memories every day and you can enjoy them again. Or, just put them in a box. Say, okay, I'm going to put my memories in 2 big boxes and put them in your attic. So anyway, I just wanted to talk a little bit about those 2 subjects. And I hope you're all doing well. I hope you're all not worried about food anxiety. Don't let the media make you crazy about it. Kind of prepare yourself a little bit for the worst. But I'm still hopeful that it won't come to that, and live your life. Go about, don't live your life in anxiety. If you're feeling like, oh, this is driving me crazy, call up a friend, call up a family member that can talk you down from your anxiety. Read some good articles that are positive. Read a positive book. You don't want to pick up a dark book and start reading that when you're feeling that way. Watch some comedy TV and laugh. Find things to laugh about. I mean, even in today's world, with all the craziness going on, a lot of it is really laughable. You think to yourself, oh, can some of these people really be this dumb? But anyway, all right, I'm going to stop talking now, and I'll be back with a meal in a little bit, and I'm going to get to cleaning up because I can't stand it. Alrighty, cooking down the fridge, the freezer, and the working pantry video, day 105. Let's see what we have today. Okay, I have to eat this avocado. Avocado, not avocado, right? Okay. All right, there we go. Going to have that. And I need to cook up these potatoes. I have these very hard lemons that I need to cook. So those will be going with the potatoes. I have a recipe for some Greek potato salad that sounds really good. I still have a couple of eggs here. I'm going to put an egg in my potato salad for later. And I'm going to have one for breakfast. And let's see. I have one roll yet. I still have more in the basement refrigerator. I really like these rolls. So they're by Orlando, and I think it's their Italian rolls. Very good. And they last, if you put them in the refrigerator, they last a long time. Okay, let's see what else. I have peppers and salad. I might put some of that on my sandwich. I'm not sure about that yet, so I'm not going to take it out. And down here I still have some more avocados. They need to be eaten soon. And I'm going to have an orange with it today. I still have more oranges and apples downstairs in my other little tiny refrigerator that I put the overflow in. So that's going to be breakfast, brunch. It's already brunch time. Well, I'm going to need some mayo too. So let's get the mayo out. And that will be breakfast, day 105. Okay, so while I'm over here, I still want to eat my my food that I prepared before that I'm trying to eat up. So I still have some of this ice cream that I made that I can do smoothies with, but not today. And I have shredded zucchini. I have a couple of those. I don't know what that is. It's a mystery meal. I'll have to check that out. Usually I put a little label on, but I must have been busy. So I'm going to eat for dinner. I still have this gumbo from January. I'm going to have that for dinner tonight. So I'm going to take that out and defrost it. And then along with that, but I'm not taking this out right now, I'm going to have one of these and one of these, and I'm going to do a comparison. All right, so that will be it for my dinner choices, day 105. I wanted to show you, I don't know if you can see this, I have a pregnant tomato. See those little things popping out? So guess who's going to plant the top half of this tomato? Because the other half is starting to get a little soft. It's still perfectly good. But I don't know if this has to do with GMO stuff or what. But I've planted little tomato slices before. And I know when I cut this open, it's going to have little baby tomato plants. So I'm going to plant them. Let's get ready to do a cesarean section. All right, Mama. You're going to be giving birth. So let's open this up and see. I'm going to cut it in half and see how many babies we have. All right, this part of the tomato doesn't have any yet, but I can see this part does. So let's cut here and hope we don't injure any of the babies. Still none. Oh, these are looking like they're starting. Oh, there's a baby. So there's one. So we're just going to take these seeds out of here. Just carefully dig them out. I never thought I'd become a surgeon, but here we are. And there they are. There's the little baby tomatoes. So I read somewhere that GMO tomatoes will do this. I don't know. I could be wrong. So if you know any information on this, let me know in the comments below. Oh, there's more babies. So those will be going into the soil right away. And this baby, oh, look at this one. This one actually has a really nice root. I don't want to injure it. So I will keep it with all the messy stuff on it and just stick them all in a pot. Okay, I think we extracted all the baby tomatoes here. Isn't this fun? I know some of you are going, oh, come on. But I find this stuff fun. So let's see what we have over here. Oh yes, we have more babies. Oh yeah, look at that. Okay, I will stop and make my breakfast. But this to me is very exciting. All right. I'll be back when I get this done. Okay, here they are. These guys are really anxious to get going. I'm going to plant these in a little bit after breakfast. These have a little bit of stuff going on. I don't know. I'll probably just plant those in a different pot. But these I want to definitely get in the ground. So I'm going to set these aside and just finish up my breakfast. And I'm just going to have... I decided to save my egg for a salad later because this needs to be eaten. The core of it was starting to get a little funky. So it'll be salad tonight. Like I said, I plan my meals around what needs to be eaten. And I have another head of lettuce here, and that seems to be fine. So, and then here I mixed up the rest of the mama tomato, and it's perfectly nice and sweet and edible. So this will be going on my roll, and what doesn't go on my roll, I'm just going to add some lettuce leaves to and eat it as a salad. So I'm going to put a little bit of mayo on my roll. And that's basically just to keep it from getting soggy. Because if you don't put any butter or anything on it, it does tend to get a little soggy. So there we go with that. And a beautiful lettuce leaf on each one. The doggies will get the core. I usually eat the core, but they're sitting here waiting, so I will share my food. As long as it's healthy, I share my food with the dogs. They don't eat a lot of people food. It's basically because I don't want them getting too heavy. But things like lettuce and carrots and anything that would be healthy for us is usually healthy for them. But there is a big long list of things you should not feed your dogs, like grapes and chocolate and those sorts of things. All right, so I'll be back in a few minutes. I'm going to put this together and I'll show you my completed meal. Okay, here is my breakfast, day 105. A little salad. All I put on the salad was lemon pepper seasoning, pepper, and the tomato because the tomato makes a lot of juice. Good, delicious food does not have to cost an arm and a leg. So give it a try. I did put the egg in the salad, so there's protein in there. And there we have it. There's my breakfast, day 105. All right. Well, I just wanted to show you, this is the little soldering wood burning thing that I bought yesterday. And I got it at Walmart. It was about $20, 19 something. And it's got this little rheostat in it. You can make it cooler or hotter, and I'm really liking it. And in the past, I've always drilled holes in my pots, my plastic pots, and sometimes drilling them would make them crack. So I've seen a lot of videos out there with people that garden a lot, and they just use a soldering iron. And I can't tell you how much easier it is to do it this way. I mean, it's just 1, 2, 3, and you're done. So anyway, I mean, this is so easy to do, and the holes are just the right size. Just like that. And you have holes in your pot. And I bought these to transplant my little tomatoes. They're doing really well. They're upstairs under my grow light, and I have about a dozen of them. And I don't want to go crazy with tomato plants this year. Last year, I overplanted thinking they wouldn't come up, and they did. And I had tomatoes like everywhere. I don't want to do that again this year. I don't want to waste the seeds. So just that quick, I did 4 little pots. And these are the ones I'm going to transplant my tomatoes into. And I'll probably put this in there. But, yep, I got a pregnant tomato. I got a mother. So the rest of this I'm going to cook. But I'm definitely going to... And I don't know, this is probably a hybrid tomato. It's one I got at the store. It's the vine tomatoes that you know, they're connected on a vine. And it's probably a hybrid, I don't know. So I'm not sure what kind of tomato will come out of it, but I'm sure something will. So I know a lot of people, I plant my green onions in the spring. I buy a bunch of green onions and I plant them, and I have green onion tops the whole summer. I've planted celery before, and that, you know, gets new shoots. I mean, you don't have to wait until your celery stalk is this big. You know, you can eat the little celeries as they come out. You can do a cut and come again kind of thing with your, even with your little romaines and things you can plant. I'm sure most of you know this. You can plant the bottom of it, the root, and you'll get little shoots. You're not going to get an epic head of lettuce out of it, but you know, it's enough that you can do like a cut the outside leaves and the inside will continue to grow. So anyway, this is what I'm going to be doing shortly. And I'm really happy that I bought this. And I bought the wood burning tool instead of just a soldering gun. I know the soldering gun, I went to Harbor Freight and they had one for about $6. It was just a soldering gun, but soldering iron, but they were totally out of those. And I have a very heavy duty one that actually belonged to my dad, but that one would be overkill. So I used to use that when I did my stained glass art. So who knows, maybe I'll get back to that one of these days. But anyway, I just wanted to show you my little soldering iron. I'm very happy with it. It's working great. And let's have some breakfast. I'm getting hungry. Okay, so here are my little tomatoes all planted, and I planted them in 3 cups. So these are ready. I planted like that so they can come up. And I just double cup these because these have holes, these don't. You just have to watch how much water. You don't want to have water, you know, pooling in here. It'll rot your plants. But it's a good way to keep from having to get all different saucers. So there's another one coming up here and here. And some of them I just planted under the dirt. So I'm going to go put these under my grow lights and see what happens. Now obviously these are indeterminate tomatoes. Indeterminate tomatoes keep growing. They produce all season long, whereas a determinate tomato will become mature all at the same time. So because these are vine tomatoes, they grow tall. So if you're going to be planting in smaller containers, it's best if you get a bush tomato. But if you can trellis them up, then a vine tomato will give you more produce for a longer period of time. So the security patrol is on again. I know Roma tomatoes are like a bush type. They're determinate. So Roma tomatoes might be a good choice. And check on the back of the seed packet if you're doing seeds. Or what I like to do if I buy starters, then I will look it up on my phone before I buy it to make sure it's the right kind of tomato. And actually potatoes are either determinate or indeterminate as well. The determinate ones, they produce all their potatoes around the bottom of the root. And the indeterminate ones are the ones that you keep piling up the dirt because they will produce potatoes up the root stalk or whatever you want to call it. And they will get very tall too. So something I learned that last year, that there are determinate and indeterminate tomatoes and potatoes. The tomatoes I knew about, but the potatoes I did not. So anyway, I'm going to put these under my grow lights and then I'll be back. I'm going to be doing more planting of seeds, and I got to get this mess cleaned up. These are my beautiful tomatoes that I started not that long ago, and they're doing really well. These are the Roma tomatoes. They're a determinate tomato. So, and they're nice for making sauces and different things. But these guys are already starting to get a little yellow. That means they need some fertilizer. They need to be fed. So I'm going to separate these and plant them one individual in a pot. So, and then I have this cake thing. It came from just a sheet cake from Walmart. And all these fit just nicely in there, so I'll be using that. And then of course I have my pots with the holes in them. Now if you're going to use a no-hole cup with a hole cup, you can actually water your plants from the bottom, but you want to make sure that once the plant is moist, you don't want to leave the water sitting in there. So that's one way you can water them. But my favorite way to water my little seedlings is with just a regular pop bottle. And I just did nail holes in it, and it's like a sprinkler can then. And I have these all over the house where I have my plants. Summer day 105. So this is just left over from the freezer. I pulled it out this morning. So here's what it looks like. It's my gumbo, and I made that sometime back in January. I think I have a video about that. I've made so many videos, I don't know exactly what's where. But I made this with canned beans. I believe they were like the 3-bean trio. I made it with lentils and with vegetarian sausage. So, and then I put in, you know, at the Dollar Tree you can get those seasoned vegetables with okra and corn, and I forget what else it has in it, but I put all that together and I made myself a gumbo. All right, I've never had real gumbo, so I don't know what it's supposed to taste like, but this is my version. All right, my friends, I'm going to call it a day. I've been busy today cleaning and planting and doing surgery on Mama Tomato. So I'm going to go relax a little bit now, and I'll continue on tomorrow. All right, my friends, I want to wish you abundant blessings. I love you guys. Be good to yourself. Be good to others. God bless you, and I'll see you next time. If you enjoyed this video, please subscribe, comment, and like. Thanks for watching.